Do you feel overly anxious, depressed, or just unhappy overall in the presence of your parents fighting? Depression is an exhausting and consuming task, and it can be very helpful to have their support. That being said, it can be tricky when your parents do certain things that fuel the burden of your depression instead of easing it. Even Angelina Jolie, a well-known actress, suffered from a rocky relationship with her father, which caused bouts of depression and self-hatred starting from her teen years. Her success at such a young age caused her to feel guilt, and she felt like she shouldn't feel such emptiness when she had everything. In truth, depression has no bounds as to who it can affect. Young, old, rich, poor, it can target anyone. Unfortunately, many teens have been isolated in their homes with their parents due to the nature of the past 2 years, and for many, it has only worked to fuel their depression and make them more susceptible to it. Many parents have trouble understanding the overall concept of depression, so when they're directly confronted with it, they might only make it worse. So with that said, here are some things that parents do that fuel teenage depression. Number 1, they're constantly comparing you. Do you feel like you can never do anything right? They might always find some fault in what you do and compare you to a friend or a family member, asking you why you can't be more like them. It seems like everything you do is compared to another, like nothing is entirely your own. This can leave you with a feeling of failure and confusion as to why you aren't good enough. You also might personally start to compare yourself. While every teen at some point compares themselves to their peers, it's really damaging when it's amplified by your parents. As a teenager in these years of critical growth and change, it's important that you stay true to yourself and that you are your own person. When those you trust the most begin to compare you, the lines can easily become blurred and you can lose sight of who you are. You start questioning your overall personality and worth, which can cause unhappiness and low self-esteem, potentially spiraling into depression. Number 2, they shut down moments of vulnerability. Being truthful and emotional with your parents can be scary, and it takes a lot of courage to do. Do you find that when you do finally open up to your parents, they find ways to completely dismiss the fact that you're struggling? That they think your depression is just some passing phase in your teenage years, so they don't take it seriously? They might say things like, "Why are you so sad? You've got a good life." Or maybe, "If you weren't on your phone so much, you wouldn't be so depressed." They find excuses and tiptoe around the issue at hand and just don't understand how you are actually feeling. They have trouble coming to terms with your situation and therefore deny it and find other reasons as to why you might be feeling in a certain way. This may leave you feeling unheard and unsupported because really all you're seeking is that parental love and understanding that every child should have, especially in the unpredictable years of being a teen. The lack of support might succeed in making you feel even more hollow and lonely. Number 3, they guilt trip you. Your parents might do certain things to induce a reaction out of you, specifically feelings of guilt or shame. For instance, they might make passive-aggressive comments about your state. Parents often do this to make you feel guilty enough to dismiss your issues instead of dealing with them. They may say your depression is burdening the whole family, which makes you feel remorseful for even feeling what you're feeling in the first place, urging you to ignore your depression so that you're not such a burden. They might also ignore any attempts to talk about your situation, leaving you feeling like it isn't important and not a real problem. Their guilt tripping only represses your emotions, keeping them bottled up. And with this, there's a risk that eventually your emotions will dangerously hit you all at once. Number 4, they're overly strict. Do you feel like you can't do anything? When you ask to do something like spend time with your friends or something even remotely fun, they deny it and tell you to do something more productive like schoolwork. They don't let you explore the joys that come with the youthfulness of your teen years and instead restrict and suffocate you. This may lead you to feel isolated and cause anxiety when you actually do go into social situations. The lack of exposure to the real world can affect your socializing skills in the future, which can in turn disturb your career and personal relationships, and all of these things can fuel depression. They blame you for everything. Do you ever feel like you're the scapegoat for every argument? Your parents might pull you into a situation that doesn't involve you and put you in the middle. You become the target of their anger and scorn. For instance, you might find yourself taking the blame for something a sibling or maybe even one of your parents did. It's exhausting, and it causes you to live on edge, waiting for the next fight. You'll find that you feel isolated and different from those who are supposed to accept and nurture you. You might also start to think that you're actually doing something wrong to cause such a reaction from your parents. This specific kind of isolation, one that makes you feel out of place in your own home, can be extremely detrimental to your mental health. Their constant berating only puts you at risk of falling into or fueling your depression. Do you struggle with depression? Are your parents showing these signs? If so, try reaching out to a trusted friend, teacher, school counselor, or any other adult that you trust to help you get some real constructive care. Although you might not have the support of your parents, you can ask for assistance from other trusted adults around you to ease the weight off your shoulders.